You walk into work on Monday morning, sit down at your desk, and check the clock. 8 hours until you can go home. Then you do it again on Tuesday, on Wednesday, Thursday, and on Friday. 40 hours total. But have you ever wondered why we work exactly 40 hours a week? I mean, who decided that that was the magic number? And is it still the best way to work today? Let me explain the whole story of 40-hour work weeks to you like you're 5 years old. A long time ago, before your grandparents were even born, work was very different. People didn't have clocks on their computers or phones buzzing with meeting reminders. I mean, most people just worked on farms, growing food and taking care of animals. When the sun came up, they started working, and when the sun went down, they stopped working. Simple, right? But then something big happened that changed everything. Imagine if someone invented a giant machine that could make things faster than any person ever could. That is exactly what happened during something called the Industrial Revolution. It started around the 17 and 1800s. People built huge factories with enormous machines that could make clothes, tools, and all sorts of things much faster than making them by hand. These factories were like giant buildings full of loud, powerful machines that never got tired. But here's the problem. These machines didn't care if the sun was up or down. They could work all day and all night if someone was there to run them. And the people who owned these factories, called factory owners, realized that they could make more money if their machines ran as much as possible. So they made their workers come to the factory when it was still dark outside and stay until it was dark again. Sometimes people worked 12 hours a day or 14 hours, even 16 hours. I mean, can you imagine working for 16 hours straight? That's like staying awake from when you wake up until way past your bedtime, doing hard work the whole time. The factory owners thought that this was great because, well, their machines made a lot of stuff, which meant that they made a lot of money. But the workers were exhausted. I mean, they barely had time to eat dinner, see their families, or even sleep. Many workers actually got sick from working so much. Some even got hurt by the dangerous machines because they were too tired to be careful. There were even children, some as young as you, who had to work in these factories instead of going to school or playing with toys. The workers decided that this wasn't fair, and they started to talk to each other about how tired and unhappy they were. And then they all realized that if we all worked together, they could ask their bosses to treat them better. So when workers join together like this, it's called forming a union. You think of it like when all the kids in your class agree that recess should be longer. If just one kid asks the teacher might say no. But if the whole class asks together, the teacher might actually listen. These unions started asking for shorter work days. They didn't want to work 16 hours anymore. They wanted time to rest, eat with their families, and maybe even have some fun. But the factory owners didn't want to listen. So the workers did something brave. They went on strike. A strike is when workers refuse to come to work until their bosses agree to treat them better. It's like if all the students in a school decided to just not come to class until the principal agreed to serve ice cream for lunch every day. And this gets their attention pretty quickly. One of the most famous strikes happened in Chicago in 1886. Thousands of workers marched through the streets carrying signs that said, 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, 8 hours for what we will. But the factory owners and the police, they didn't like these strikes. The workers kept trying though, because they knew that what they were asking for was fair. They just wanted to be treated like human beings, not like machines that could work all day and night. And slowly, over many years, some factory owners finally started to realize that tired workers didn't do good work. They break things, they get injured, and injured workers, they can't work at all, which costs the factory owners money. Some smart business owners figured out that if they let their workers rest more, then the workers would actually do better work during the hours they were there. One of the most famous of these smart business owners was a man named Henry Ford. Now, you might know that name because Ford still makes cars today. But back in 1914, Henry Ford did something that shocked everyone. He decided that workers in his car factories would only work 8 hours a day, and he would pay them more money than other factories paid their workers. Other business owners thought he was crazy. They said he would lose money and his business would fail. But guess what happened? Henry Ford's workers were so happy and so well rested that they worked really well during those 8-hour shifts. They made cars faster and better than tired workers at other factories. Plus, because Ford paid his workers more money, they could afford to buy the cars that they were making. This meant Ford sold more cars and made more money, not less. Other business owners saw this and started thinking that maybe, just maybe, shorter work days weren't such a crazy idea after all. World War I also changed things. During the war, many factories had to work extra hard to make weapons, uniforms, and other things for soldiers. The government realized that workers who were too tired made mistakes, and mistakes during wartime could be very dangerous. So the government started encouraging shorter workdays to make sure that workers stayed alert and did good work. After the war ended, more and more businesses started adopting the 8-hour workday. But it still wasn't the law everywhere. Some places still made people work much longer. The workers and their unions kept pushing for a national rule that would protect everyone. And finally, in 1938, the United States government passed a law called the Fair Labor Standards Act. This law said that most workers could only be required to work 40 hours per week. If a boss wanted someone to work more than 40 hours, they had to pay them extra money for those extra hours. And this extra money is called overtime pay. The idea was that if bosses had to pay extra for long hours, they would think twice about making people work too much. So that's how we got to the 40-hour work week. It took almost 100 years of workers fighting for fair treatment, smart business owners realizing that rested workers are better workers, and finally, the government making it a law. 40 hours became the standard because it seemed like a good balance. It was enough time to get work done, but it also left time for people to rest, spend time with their families, and have lives outside of work. But now, almost 100 years later, some people are wondering if 40 hours is still the right amount. The world has changed a lot since 1938. We don't all work in factories with big machines anymore. Many people work with computers, or they help other people, or they create things with their minds instead of their hands. Some people think that we should work less than 40 hours. Some point out that workers today are much more productive than workers back in 1938, and that means we can get more done in less time, thanks to computers, better tools, and smarter ways of working. If we can do the same amount of work in 35 hours that used to take 40 hours, why not work less and have more time for other things? There are some countries that have actually tried shorter work weeks. Over in France, the standard work week is 35 hours instead of 40. Many of these experiments have actually shown that people are just as productive, and they're much happier and less stressed. Some people argue that when workers are less tired and stressed, they actually do better work. They're more creative, they solve problems better, and they make fewer mistakes. Plus, when people have more free time, they spend more money on fun things like movies, restaurants, and vacations, which helps the whole economy. But other people think that 40 hours is still right, or even that some people should work more. They argue that in our competitive world, we need to work hard to keep up with other countries and other companies. They worry that if we work less, we might fall behind or not make enough money to pay for all the things that our society needs, like schools, hospitals, and roads. There's also the question of different types of work. A doctor in an emergency room might need to work long hours to save people's lives. A teacher might need extra time to grade papers and prepare lessons. But someone who works at a computer all day might be able to get their work done in fewer hours. Maybe different jobs need different amounts of time. Technology has also changed how we think about work time. With smartphones and laptops, many people can work from anywhere at any time. Some people love this flexibility, but others feel like they're always at work and never really get to rest. The line between work time and personal time has kind of become a blur. The COVID-19 pandemic also made many people rethink work. When lots of people started working from home, some discovered that they could go get their work done in less time without long commutes, office meetings, and other distractions. Others actually found it harder to focus at home and needed more time to get things done. The pandemic simply made everyone think differently about what work should look like. Some companies are now experimenting with different approaches. Some let people choose their own hours as long as they get their work done. Others have actually tried shorter work weeks or more vacation time, and a few companies have even tried unlimited vacation policies, where people can take as much time off as they want as long as they're finishing their work. The question of whether 40 hours is still right doesn't really have a simple answer, because different people have different needs. Some people love their work and want to do it for many hours. Others would rather work less and spend more time with their family, doing hobbies or helping their community. Some jobs really do require 40 hours or more, while others might be done well in less time. What most people agree on, though, is that workers should be treated fairly and have some control over their work lives. The workers who fought for the 40-hour work week weren't just fighting about numbers on a clock. They were fighting for the idea that people should have time to be human beings, not just workers. They wanted time to rest, they wanted time to be with the people they love, and they wanted the time to do things that make them happy. Today, we're still having the same conversation, just with new challenges and opportunities. Instead of factory machines, we're dealing with computers and artificial intelligence. Instead of just fighting for shorter days, we're also talking about working from home, flexible schedules, and mental health. But the basic question is the same. how do we balance getting work done with having good, healthy, happy lives? The 40-hour work week was a huge victory for workers a long time ago. It showed that when people work together and fight for fair treatment, they can change things for the better. Whether 40 hours is still the right number for today is something that we're all still figuring out. But the most important thing is that we keep asking the question and keep working toward a world where everyone is treated fairly. And so, there you have it. The 40-hour work week started because workers got tired of being treated like machines and fought for the right to have lives outside of work. Smart business owners realized that happy workers do better work, and eventually the government made it a law. Now, we're all still just trying to figure out what the right balance should be in our modern world. But the important thing is that people should be treated fairly and have time to be human beings, not just workers. Now go tell your parents why they should definitely consider that 4-day work week. I'm sure they'll love hearing career advice from someone who just learned about labor history.